Silverwood, a small town shrouded in fog and encircled by the dense Silverwood forest, has long been haunted by stories of unexplained disappearances. Each year, as autumn turns to winter and the fog rolls in, a town resident vanishes without a trace, leaving behind nothing but a circle of scorched earth in the forest. Harper Allen, a 17-year-old high school student, has been haunted by her sister Lily's disappearance in last year's fog. The police found no trace of her, except for a single mud-stained journal near the edge of the forest. Consumed by grief and driven by the unresolved fate of her sister, Harper is determined to uncover the truth behind the myths of Silverwood. With the anniversary of Lily's disappearance drawing near, Harper begins her quest by delving into the town's archives. She discovers that the forest was once the site of an ancient burial ground, long before the town was established. Legends speak of spirits guarding the sacred land, punishing those who dare to desecrate it. Determined to find answers, Harper organizes an expedition into Silverwood Forest on the eve of the fog's return. She is joined by her best friends, Ethan and Mia, who bring along cameras and sensors to document their findings and hopefully appease the town's curiosity with scientific explanations. As night falls and the fog thickens, the trio stumbles upon an old hidden cabin filled with relics and maps belonging to past victims. The cabin seems untouched by time, its air thick with the scent of moss and old earth. As they explore this forgotten place, eerie sounds echo through the trees, and ghostly figures appear in the mist, circling closer with each passing moment. The tension escalates when Harper finds Lily's necklace hanging from the cabin's mantel. Overwhelmed by emotion and a growing sense of dread, she senses that the spirits are more than just legend. They begin to hear whispers, pleas from the shadows that speak of ancient wrongs and demand restitution. Realizing they are not hunters, but potential prey, the friends attempt to flee, but find themselves disoriented by the shifting landscape of the forest, which seems to warp under the influence of the spirits. The forest itself appears alive, aware, and vengeful, with trees bending and paths closing off as if to herd them back to the cabin. In a desperate bid for freedom, Harper recalls a passage from the town's historical records about offerings made to appease the spirits. Using the relics from the cabin, she constructs an impromptu shrine and offers apologies on behalf of her ancestors who disturbed the sacred ground. As dawn breaks, the fog lifts, revealing the untouched beauty of the forest. Harper and her friends find themselves back on the familiar path leading out of the forest. They emerge shaken but safe, with a new understanding of the power held by the land and its guardians. Returning to Silverwood, Harper is changed. She shares her experiences, hoping to end the cycle of fear and respect the history beneath the town. Her actions spark a larger conversation about conservation and historical reverence, transforming the annual fear of the fog into a festival of remembrance and respect for the spirits of Silverwood. Harper's journey not only uncovers the truth about her sister, who left the town to start anew, free from the shadows of Silverwood, but also reconnects the community with its forgotten history. In her quest for answers, Harper finds closure and the strength to move forward, her bond with the town and its past forever intertwined. Ava arrived in Los Angeles with dreams as bright as the California sun. Unlike the hopeful starlets flooding the city, Ava wasn't seeking fame on the silver screen. She was a historian, drawn to a darkness that most steered clear of: the unsolved murder of Elizabeth Short, the Black Dahlia. The official investigation was a labyrinth of dead ends and outlandish confessions. Ava rented a room in a faded Hollywood apartment building, the air thick with whispers of a bygone era. Her landlady, Mrs. Perch, spoke of the Black Dahlia in hushed tones, her rheumy eyes reflecting a fear that transcended time. One night, a power outage plunged the building into an inky blackness. Ava fumbled for a candle, the silence broken only by the city's distant hum. As the flame flickered, a faint scent tickled her nose, a sickly sweet perfume, cloying and familiar. It was the same scent Mrs. Perch used, a fragrance Elizabeth Short was known to wear. A prickling sensation crawled up Ava's spine. The power flickered back on, revealing a single dahlia on her desk, its black petals impossibly perfect. Panic clawed at her throat. This wasn't a random flower, this was a message. Driven by morbid curiosity, Ava delved deeper. She unearthed cryptic notes from the case files, mentions of a dahlia killer scrawled in shaky handwriting. Local libraries held whispered accounts, sightings of a shadowy figure with eyes like polished obsidian, leaving black dahlias wherever he went. One humid night, the scent returned, stronger this time. Ava followed it down a labyrinthine fire escape, the metal groaning under her weight. The source led her to the building's roof, a place she'd never dared explore. There, bathed in the sickly glow of a half-moon, stood a figure cloaked in darkness. In his hand, a single black dahlia, its perfect form marred by a single glistening drop of blood. As he turned, Ava screamed. His eyes, the color of polished obsidian, held a chilling recognition. It wasn't just the killer. It was someone she knew. The final line of Mrs. Perch's faded diary echoed in Ava's mind. Some dreams never die, and some darkness never fades. The Black Dahlia's mystery had claimed another victim, its tendrils reaching out from the past, forever entwined with the present. The silence that followed Ava's scream held a new horror, a chilling truth that would forever taint the City of Angels. The wind howled like a banshee through the skeletal pines, their gnarled branches clawing at the bruised twilight sky. Emily, a young and ambitious photojournalist, stood at the rusted gates of Blackwood Sanatorium, her heart hammering a nervous rhythm against her ribs. The abandoned asylum loomed before her, a hulking silhouette against the dying light. Its once grand facade was now a canvas of peeling paint and shattered windows, each a vacant eye staring accusingly at the world. Local legends whispered of tortured souls trapped within, their screams forever echoing through the decaying halls. Today, Emily was determined to capture a slice of that darkness. Armed with her camera, a flashlight, and a healthy dose of skepticism, she pushed open the creaking gate. The air around her hung heavy, thick with the scent of damp earth and something else, a metallic tang that sent a shiver down her spine. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the mournful creak of the wind-tossed pines and the unsettling crunch of her boots on the gravel path. As she ventured deeper into the overgrown grounds, an unsettling feeling prickled at her skin, a sense of being watched unseen. The sanatorium's entrance was a gaping maw, its oak doors hanging askew on rusted hinges. The inscription above, Blackwood Sanatorium, healing the mind, mending the soul, had a cruel irony in the fading light. Stepping inside, Emily was met with a scene of utter decay. Dust motes danced in the beam of her flashlight, revealing peeling wallpaper that curled at the edges like emaciated fingers reaching for escape. The air was thick with the smell of mildew and something far more disturbing, a faint whimper that seemed to emanate from the very walls. As she moved down the deserted corridor, the silence became suffocating. It felt as if 1,000 unseen eyes followed her every move. Every creak of the floorboards, every groan of the aging building seemed amplified in the oppressive stillness. Her steps echoed eerily, bouncing off the cracked plaster and hollow walls. Then she heard it, a whisper. Faint at first, barely audible over the hammering of her own heart, it grew stronger as she pressed forward. It was a cacophony of voices, a collective murmur that morphed into chilling laughter that seemed to seep from the very fabric of the building. Suddenly, a gust of icy air swept past her, extinguishing her flashlight. Panic surged through her as she stumbled back, her hand brushing against something cold and damp. It was a wall, but the outline felt wrong, more like a body pressed against the other side. A primal scream rose in her throat, but before she could voice it, another chilling sound reached her ears, the unmistakable sound of ragged breathing, so close it sent a fresh wave of terror through her. In the inky blackness, a faint glow appeared in the distance. It was a single match flame, dancing erratically. As it drew closer, its light revealed a skeletal figure, its ragged clothes hanging loosely on a gaunt frame. Its head was shrouded in shadow, but its eyes, two burning embers, locked onto Emily. The whispers intensified, forming a single chilling phrase. "Join us! Join us!" The figure lunged forward, its skeletal hand reaching for her. Emily screamed, a primal cry that echoed through the decaying halls. But just as the hand was about to make contact, a flicker of light from the outside world pierced through a broken window, momentarily blinding her. She seized the opportunity and lunged in the opposite direction, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs. She raced through the darkened corridors, fueled by pure terror, whispers chasing after her like a pack of ravenous wolves. Finally, she stumbled out of the sanatorium and into the welcoming embrace of twilight. The fresh air felt like a baptism, washing away the oppressive atmosphere of the place. Back in the safety of her car, she reviewed the photographs on her camera. Each shot taken inside the sanatorium was shrouded in an unnatural darkness, except for one. It was the picture of the skeletal figure, its burning eyes boring through the lens. But something else sent a jolt of terror through her. There, in the background, barely visible in the gloom, was a faint outline of another figure, its face stretched into a wide, horrifying grin. It was the smiling man, a local legend of a malevolent spirit said to haunt the Blackwoods Sanatorium. And now, it seemed, he had a new companion. Hollow Creek was a postcard-perfect town, nestled amidst rolling hills and whispering pines. Its charm was best displayed during the annual Festival of Masks, a vibrant celebration where residents donned grotesque visages and paraded through the cobbled streets. The air crackled with a joyous energy, punctuated by the echoing laughter of masked revelers. This year, however, a new mask had infiltrated the festivities, sending shivers down spines and sparking a wave of unsettling whispers. It was a porcelain visage stretched into a wide, unnatural grin, its eyes painted a disturbing shade of crimson that seemed to follow you wherever you went. Sarah, a young bookstore owner with a passion for local folklore, felt an inexplicable dread emanating from the mask. It was as if the grin held a secret, a promise of something sinister lurking beneath the painted surface. Days leading up to the festival, a shroud of unease settled over Hollow Creek. Livestock vanished overnight, replaced by chilling displays, their lifeless bodies adorned with grotesquely carved smiles mirroring the porcelain mask. The night of the festival arrived, transforming the quaint town square into a kaleidoscope of color and sound. Masked figures flooded the streets, their laughter blending into a cacophony that echoed off the cobblestones. The air crackled with an electric tension as Sarah navigated the throng, her gaze constantly searching for the source of her unease. Suddenly a figure materialized from the crowd, its porcelain grin cutting through the vibrant tapestry of masks. The crimson eyes seemed to lock onto Sarah, sending a jolt of icy fear down her spine. As she watched, mesmerized by the unnatural grin, a chilling realization dawned on her. It wasn't just the eyes. The laughter emanating from the figure was eerily familiar, a distorted echo of her own. Panic surged through her. She tried to turn away, but the masked figure was already surrounded, a throng of revelers converging on it, their once playful laughter morphing into a synchronized chant. Their movements became eerily coordinated, their painted smiles twisting into expressions of pain and despair. With a growing sense of dread, Sarah recognized the faces beneath the masks, her neighbors, friends, even the kindly old bakery owner. A cold sweat prickled her skin as the chanting intensified. "Join us! Become one!" The smiling man, as he had become known, reached out, his touch sending a wave of nausea through her. The chanting reached a crescendo, a final chilling echo. "We are all smiles now." Sarah's scream died in her throat as the masked figures engulfed her. Their painted smiles became a grotesque tapestry, a chilling representation of a town forever consumed by the devouring laughter. The next morning, the square lay empty, save for a single porcelain mask, its crimson eyes glinting malevolently in the rising sun. The townsfolk of Hollow Creek were gone, replaced by a chilling reminder of the price paid for succumbing to the lure of the mask. News of the missing town spread like wildfire, a chilling mystery that baffled authorities. But for Sarah, the truth was far more horrifying. She had escaped the clutches of the devouring laughter, but the chilling echo of the chant and the memory of 1,000 painted smiles haunted her every waking moment. The Festival of Masks would never be the same, its once vibrant celebration replaced by a chilling reminder of the night laughter devoured a town. Until next time, friends, good night.